A decent fighting game needs to have a large roster of characters for players to be able to express themselves, but also have tools that fit their playstyle. Learning them all can be tiresome and time-consuming to say the least, but that time spent does offer you options for various matchups or even surprise moments where a player doesn't really know what to do against you. Focusing on one character is a kind of deep dive into focusing on their moveset and features, developing perfect muscle memory, and developing this sort of virtual extension between you and the fighter themselves. But there are some obvious downsides here, the biggest one being that you only have that one character for every matchup, no matter how unfavorable it might be. And you're also beholden to the developers a bit. There can be a patch that comes and nerfs your character. They might get buffed too, you never know. Having 2 to 3 mains or 1 main and 2 secondary characters seems like an ideal situation. But does this also present its own disadvantages? Is there this universal recipe that works for everyone? And what about professional esports players? I'm sure they know a thing or two about what's best in fighting games. Let's try and figure this out. Knowing only one character is an illusionary situation, and it almost never happens in real life for various reasons. Sure, there are clear character specialists out there who have one pick for most tournaments. This doesn't mean they don't know someone else in the roster and can't make a counterpick when it's necessary. As fighting games players, we are all different. It would probably be easier to have a list of our pros and cons and general preferences to check them out before selecting a main. But we don't have that, thank goodness. So the process of choosing your one and only becomes an adventure with ups and downs. You may like someone as an in-game personality or for their cool appearance and great fighting animations, but in practice, this character turns out to be way out of your best skills, or even out of your comfort zone. Unless you play someone for long enough, it's hard to know if they are good for you. The search for your one love in a fighting game often continues for quite some time. You meet other characters in this journey, and they naturally become your side options. And in general, a fighting game is not a linear experience. Extra excitement is always available when you pick a new character for a fun match and then end up really liking their moveset. But okay, having affairs with quite a few characters, knowing and playing them, does not prevent a player from being a character loyalist and being associated with them. In fact, we have many examples in the pro scene. Gur is a really strong Garrus player in MK11, and we're excited to see if Mortal Kombat 1 is the same scenario. Gerlanda mains Katarina in Tekken 7. Mr. Crimson is Dhalsim through and through in Street Fighter V and Street Fighter VI. The DBFZ team of Blue Gogeta, Vegito, Android 17 is generally called Yasha's team, and the player sticks to it throughout many tournaments. It was interesting to see a mirror match in the grand final of EVO 2023 when Hikari played this team and defeated Yasha himself. Cuddlecore picks Elisa for most Tekken 7 tournaments, but also she can take Xiao Yu to the fights. The advantages here are pretty obvious. The more you play a character, the better you know them. Reaching mastery requires time and patience, and if your concentration is unwavering, you put your all into practicing the specific moveset and the specific character features. The disadvantages are also clear. Bad and good matchups are a real thing in fighting games. Quite often, you certainly need someone else to oppose that archetype or the fighting style that opposes your character. But what if you didn't practice that character as much as you needed to? Impressive skills with one character may not be that spectacular with another, and it's a bummer for some tournament situations. That nerfing thing is also quite real. Can you believe that Yamcha and Goku GT were viable DBFZ picks back in the day? Will you have the strength to abandon your previous main and start work with a new one? We regularly invite character specialists to collaborate with DashFight and teach the world how to play their characters. Have you seen the guide on Dhalsim in Street Fighter VI by Mr. Crimson? Make sure to check it out. The link is in the description. Even in our section for character specialists, we've mentioned pro players taking another character from time to time. It may happen because of how desperate a situation is. A player doesn't want to lose a match, obviously, but that is impossible to do with the main character pick. Help from a secondary character is needed, and it doesn't always work, just due to this reserve pick did not get enough attention and wasn't a proper backup. Having a few mains and switching between them is a different approach, and it sounds like the most effective competitive plan. Having one main and a couple of secondary picks that also got enough training is a strategy of the same sort. It feels like a well-balanced thing, like when you proportionally upgrade a few skills of your RPG character instead of focusing on attack or defense only. Daigo is well known for his guile play in Street Fighter V, but he mained Ryu in Street Fighter II and played this iconic Shoto in Street Fighter Alpha and Street Fighter IV. Then, Capcom nerfed Ryu for such games as Street Fighter III, Street Fighter V, and eventually Street Fighter VI. Daigo has to look for substitutes. While somewhat complaining about the situation, Evo moment number 37 is with Ken on Daigo's side. In Street Fighter VI, we see him playing Ken again. Lord Knight has Baiken as his main character in Guilty Gear Strive, but the reason for this is that Milia is rather weak after Season 1, so it's better to put her on the bench, at least for a little while. Incendiate is a prominent example of being successful with this approach. He has Ivy, Zhang Hua, and Geralt for Soul Calibur matches. Switching between them often feels like a key factor for getting a tournament victory. Arslan Ash has great performances with Zafina in Tekken 7, like his Evo win at Evo Japan 2023, but he takes Kunimitsu for search tournaments as Combo Breaker 2023 and Evo 2023, and wins them while playing only that character. Nitro can shake up his DBFZ team quite a bit, replacing Blue Goku with Adult Gohan in different situations, like at Combo Breaker 2023 and Frosty Faustings 15, or even swapping Gotenks with 18 and Adult Gohan at Evo 2023. Tokido easily switches between Urien and Luke in Street Fighter V, for example, at the Topanga World Championship in 2023. In Street Fighter VI, he sticks to Ken, like he did at Evo 2023. Minna RD played Birdie a lot in Street Fighter V, but could switch to Balrog or Sakura, or even other fighters. After the addition of Luke, Minna RD added him to his roster and won Capcom Cup 9, switching between this character and Birdie. In Street Fighter VI, the player takes Luke and Blanca to various tournaments, including his run at Evo 2023. Professionals are often flexible with their active roster and have a backup plan. Should we bravely pronounce such an approach as the best one? Well, it seems to be nicely balanced, and having a few characters means you are better prepared for various situations. But at the same time, the focus shifts from playing one style to another. The practice concentration is less pronounced, and mastering 2 to 3 characters on the same level becomes very difficult. The reward is decent though, and it does offer some flexibility in training with multiple characters. So it's a very middle way, and we could compare it with the Shoto character phenomenon. DashFight.com is a platform where you can check out the stats of pro players, character information, tournament details, and basically everything fighting games related. It's made for the FGC by the people from the community. Check it out. Do you remember that comparison earlier with a character in an RPG? Those who learn a few characters develop different skills for themselves as a fighting game player? Well, this approach to expanding your active roster to many characters is more similar to that analogy. If you always put a limited number of experience points into every skill category, would you be able to bring every one of them to the max? Okay, now let's move back to the pure fighting game discussion. Learning many characters is great in theory. The opponents don't know what to expect from you, and you surprise everyone with an amazing counterpick and your wonderful skills with that character. But time is always limited. Are you sure the game will not be dead when you manage to master not even everyone in the roster, just more than a few? It's a great experience though, and a sign of powerful dedication. Such an achievement certainly deserves admiration. Godly has such a quality in Brawlhalla. The player may stick to one character at a specific tournament, like DreamHack Valencia 2023, and switch between a few at another, Spring Royale 2023. It might still not be mastering the whole roster, but having these versatile skills is very impressive. It pretty much feels that Wawa can take any character to his DBFZ team and still be an immensely dangerous opponent when he played the game. He had 3 quite different teams at EVO 2022. Nii can play any Tekken character with absolute incredible mastery. He's been competing within this fighting esports title since 2004, while playing Tekken since 1999. For this period, Nii got experience with most characters, and they rarely get drastic changes in this series. Nii used 4 characters to win BAM 13, but quite often he prefers sticking to Fang, for example, to win EVO 2022. Scorpion Prox played 5 MK11 characters during his victorious run at Combo Breaker 2023, and different fighters were chosen by this player at other tournaments. He took Fujin and Johnny Cage at EVO 2023. Sonic Fox is probably an ultimate example of versatility. Not only do they have many characters in the active roster, even if they have some preferences, but also they demonstrate amazing skills within a few pretty different fighting games. In MK11, Sonic Fox played Joker, Cassie Cage, Robocop, Shang Tsung, Spawn, and Jade. And that's only at EVO 2023 and Smash Factor X. Not every player is able to be effective with many fighting styles. Yeah, we are all quite different, and quite often it is better to feel your own unique path and just follow it. Practicing many characters to be able to freely jump between them is very time and energy consuming. Do you know that feeling when you play one game for a very long time and then start another and can't quickly adjust to the new layout? Where's my heavy kick? Why do they super dash with this button? It's not as strong with the switching between characters, but still, it might bring the same emotion. One guy certainly knows how to deal with switching between games and characters. We are honored to have an interview with Justin Wong and invite you guys to watch it. Every approach has pros and cons, but do you know what the most exciting part is? There is no universally correct answer. You are the only person to decide what to do with your fighting game experience. If you really like one specific character, for some reasons, just play them. It's a great chance to feel a deep connection and learn even more slight and obscure details. This is the ultimate practice of one moveset with no distractions. And probably it's a way to show your best with the chosen tools. The downside is getting a disadvantage with some matchups. They sure can be overcome with even more practice and an additional focus on weaker aspects. If you keep in mind the competitive path while making this choice, it would be better to have at least 2 to 3 characters in your active roster. This means less attention to each of them and regular swapping between your fighters. Selecting those you like the most becomes less emotional and more practical here. You simply need to select the one that fits the situation the best. It's the best tournament approach to have a reserve scenario just in case. And training variety may be a good thing for not getting bored. Quite often, if you take a break from a character and then return to them after a while, you start playing them surprisingly better. If you want to impress everyone with your skills and be flexible for possible matchups, consider the multi-character path. It's an exciting but difficult journey. More time is needed to learn every character to a decent level. Regular distractions may prevent you from going really deep with every moveset, but the advantages feel quite glorious. Perhaps this approach is rather for unique talents or for more entertaining time with your game. If you don't plan to be an esports pro, you may want to add some fun diversity to your gaming experience. What is your personal choice? How many characters do you play? What would you recommend to beginners in the community? Please share your opinion in the comments below. Still, the best place to prove you're right is in the matches. Proof to whom? Well, yourself, certainly. We'll see you in the matches, and sure enough, we'll see you in the next DashFight video.